Well, good afternoon, everybody. So I got a bunch of tough acts to follow. Have you all been here the whole time? Yeah, we had some great speakers. But I want to thank the NRA for the opportunity to be here, even if I'm at the end of the day after all those great speakers. And thank all of you for being here as well. It's great to be among responsible gun owners, people who love the Constitution and want to celebrate our Second Amendment. As Mark Geis was saying earlier, this is a celebration of our Second Amendment rights. And I want to build on some of the things that people have talked to you about already because they're important. Because it was said earlier that without our Second Amendment rights, we wouldn't have any of the others. And that's absolutely true. Let's go back to our founders when they wrote the Constitution. As Charlie was saying, it was really a radical idea that not the government gave us our rights, but our rights came to us from God. They were inherent within us. We own those rights. And to secure those rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. And our founders knew that those governments tended toward tyranny, and that we had to be able to protect ourselves from that. In fact, Thomas Jefferson, when he was writing the Virginia Constitution, Draft 1, 1776, said that no free man shall be disbarred from arms. He knew that we had to have arms. In 1787, Noah Webster said that a standing army could only rule if the people were disarmed, as almost every country in Europe was. And he went on to say that that couldn't happen in America because the whole country was armed. In 1788, George Mason said, "To disarm the people is the most effectual way to enslave them." In a letter in June of 1824 to John Cartwright, Thomas Jefferson again said that most of our state's constitutions assert the power is inherent in the people, for that they use that exercise that power, and that it is their right and their duty to at all times be armed. Because he also wrote that the natural progress of things was for liberty to yield and government to gain ground, or as Ronald Reagan said, as government expands, liberty contracts. Our founders knew that that Second Amendment right was important. And as was said earlier, I think by Senator Cruz, it's not about hunting, which it does protect, and I'm a hunter, and that's a good thing. And it wasn't even specifically about defending our homes, though it does that as well. It was about defending those God-given rights that we all share. And that if we didn't have a way to protect those rights, we would lose them. As Charlie says, if you lose your rights, don't expect to get them back. Don't expect that to come back, not without a fight. And our founders knew that if we were going to have that fight, we had to be armed to be successful. So that Second Amendment right is fundamental to who we are as Americans, because it enshrines that absolute foundational goal of protecting our rights. And that's why what you're doing here today and being a part of this is so important. Because our rights are under attack today. Make no mistake. And when we see events, tragedies, like in Parkland, we all know that no parent should have to endure that. No child should be in danger in their school. But those are tragedies. But the other side is using that to try and take away our rights. They're focusing on the wrong thing. You know, we need to improve our law enforcement. We need to improve mental health care. In Nebraska, I've organized a group of educators, a group of mental health experts, and a group of law enforcement to talk about what solutions are that we can secure our schools. Maybe, for example, allowing off-duty police officers to be able to carry a gun onto school campus. That's just one idea. But to go after our gun rights, to abridge our freedoms, is not the way we're going to solve this problem. And in fact, we know from looking around the world it's not true. We can see places like England and Wales and Ireland and Jamaica where they banned guns and crime rates went up, not down. Homicide rates went up, not down. So that's not the solution. Now, folks, the left is energized. They are intent on winning back the legislative bodies that they have lost. And we have got to get engaged to be able to do this. How do we fight this tide of people who are trying to change our Constitution and take away our rights? Well, it starts, first of all, at home. That's the foundation, right? Our families, the foundation of society. It starts at home with your children and grandchildren by talking to them about the importance of the Second Amendment, how our founders felt about that, why it protects all those other rights. It also means the things that you're already probably doing, things that are part of this convention. Take your kids shooting, take them hunting. I do that with my kids. Starts at home. Then we have to get involved in our states. In the state of Nebraska, we got any Nebraskans here? All right, we got a couple of Nebraskans. In the state of Nebraska, we host a governor's pheasant hunt to help promote sportsmanship. We put the renewal process for concealed carry permits online to make it easier on gun holders. And then I worked this year with our legislature and the NRA to be able to pass a bill into a law that will protect the privacy rights of our concealed carry permit holders. We also have to get involved in the local level. You saw Kyle Kashuv earlier. He saw the injustice of what the media narrative was with regard to the Parkland tragedy. And he stood up for that Second Amendment because he knew the other side of the story had to be told. We've got hundreds of students in Kearney, Nebraska, Kearney High School, standing up for the Second Amendment. It revolves around people in their local communities getting involved. And then the third thing, we all have to get involved in this election cycle. This is an election year. The left is energized. We've got to be energized. We've got to be out there. You've seen many of the great elected officials that have been out here today, starting with President Trump, our Vice President, John Cornyn, Ted Cruz, Governor Greg Abbott of the great state of Texas. All those folks, if they're not up for election this year, are relying on other people who are. So you need to get out there and talk to your friends and family. Look, they all know that you pay attention, that you come to events like this. They want your word-of-mouth recommendation. Look to see who the NRA is endorsing. Look to see who those candidates are. Make sure you go out and vote. And get your friends and family as well. Get them engaged. Give them your recommendation. And I want everybody in this room to make the commitment to go out and vote 10 times. Not the Chicago way 10 times. I want you all to make the commitment in this election year that you will go out and vote. And that you will get 9 other of your friends and your family, your coworkers, to go out and vote as well. Get them out as well. All right, you with me on that one? Again, thank you all for being a part of this convention, helping to celebrate our Second Amendment. Thank you for supporting the NRA. The NRA is important in making sure we continue to defend our Second Amendment rights. They've been vilified, they've been unfairly attacked. You are the answer to that by being involved. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being here. Thank you for what you do in your communities. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.